Welcome to your Rally Point podcast. Organizations need a reason to exist, and people need a reason to care, but none of it matters if you can't connect the two. This podcast is where nonprofits, advocacy groups, and mission-driven organizations discover their rallying point. It is your go-to resource for mobilizing support, building authentic connections, and driving real results. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's rally together to create the impact you're meant to make. This is your Rally Point podcast, brought to you by rallycorp.com.
Hey, welcome back to your Rally Point podcast. James here with my co-host, Jack. Hey, Jack.
Howdy.
We're going to do a quick episode today. I don't even know if we'll go 20 minutes because I'm watching the clock because we have a very tight topic we're going to talk about. And it's so important that I think our customers need to get off and do some work about it and not sit here and listen to us babble on about it. What do you think about that?
I agree with you. It is focused, pointed, but I have just been such a purveyor of this particular topic over the years because it's been in work for like 10 years.
It's not
behind
new.
The scenes.
Yeah. And a lot of vendors, Jack, are not talking about it. And I just talked to a customer this week who signed with us who said, man, you're the only person I've heard mention this, and it scared the bejeebas out of us. So we figured we need to be with the people that are at least talking about it. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the new iOS, as you know, the Apple changes that are coming afoot. So give us the iOS number just for giggles, so we know when we see it on our phone, we got it. And then what does it do to text messaging, Jack?
I think it's iOS 26.
I think you're right.
I'm not. In fact, I've been an Android guy for a bazillion years, so I don't have to worry about this. But, well, I mean, it's not in my brain as much as it is others.
Yeah.
But basically, Apple, out of the good of their heart, has said that they're beginning more intelligent filtering of messages that hit your phone.
Yep.
And this is because the industry calls them bad actors, right?
Yeah.
You get spamminess. You still get spam in your text inbox. The other day, I got a message from my bank, and actually, it was something about like, hey, there's a mix-up in your banking order of your transactions. Click here, and we're going to connect you with an agent or whatever it was. It looked completely legit, except it came to me on a telephone number, right? Like a regular telephone number instead of a 5-digit number, which it, 5-digit phone number, which it normally does. Total spam. I even me being in this industry, I'm always like, oh, I'm gonna be able to tell. But dude, I'm moving fast through my day.
Yeah.
I am between the car and my house. I'm looking at my text messages and I see this one. I'm not in the right brain to like, is this bad or not? Right? And that's how we all get caught. So iOS 26 is meant to take that message, that first message from a random telephone number about a banking alert, and push it off and put it into like the penalty box on your phone. Yep. It doesn't get rid of them. It puts them into the penalty box. I can't remember what they call them.
Like promotion or something like that. Spam. Yeah.
Yeah. And it gets it out of kind of the danger zone for you and for you all. And, but the impact is that good messages are going to get caught up in that as well.
Yep.
Because people are finding out that Apple, like this system, things can fall through the cracks, right? And so our customers, or the Rally customers and companies and healthcare and everybody else that are using these text alerts to remind you of appointments and your kid's baseball league text, the game is rained out. People are seeing that those are getting pushed over into the penalty box and they're not seeing them. Yeah. So this is kind of a challenge, right? And so you have thoughts around what might be, and I think we all do from an industry insider perspective. And we were talking about it, James, and I'll let you go.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So iOS 26, that's the right number. It's coming out. And when it does, it hits everybody's phones, as you know, and this happens automatically, Jack. I have an iPhone, my kids have an iPhone. It just one day you wake up, update available, they push updates. So you can't stop it. It's coming. And when it does come, it will start filtering messages. Now, this shouldn't surprise anybody, because guess what happened to email after the glory days of email? There was a time when email was amazing, right? And then came all the spam, and then came all the spam filters, right? And then came all the promotion inboxes and the login into Gmail, and the default view is this and the Outlook view is that. And pretty soon it's almost impossible to get your message in front of people, right?
Yes.
So then companies come along and say, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to add tracking links so we can tell you when emails are open, when they're clicked, and so we'll give you this visibility so you'll know your email's working. Well, then what happens is some iOS release later, they start firing those pixels that are called. So now you have really limited visibility into what's actually happening because iOS is obfuscating or hiding because every time marketers try to one up using technology, bad actors come along, leverage the technology to do stupid stuff. And then technology companies have an obligation to their customers to limit said stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we saw it with email all the way through. There's no reason to believe why, which is why I'm not surprised. It's going to happen with text. It has to. What's frustrating about text, Jack, and I know you share this sentiment, it takes us 2 to 3 weeks to get a phone number approved for what's called 10 DLC or local text messaging, for automated text messaging, right? Because we go through the proper channels and register that traffic. During those 2 weeks, when I'm trying to get a legitimate nonprofit, a big national nonprofit, approved with 11 phone numbers, during those 2 weeks, I counted 18 spam messages I received on my cell phone in that same 2 weeks, actually about a week and a half, right? So it was just absurd to me that I'm trying to get a legitimate nonprofit approved while simultaneously dealing with spam on my personal cell phone.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
Yeah. It's really frustrating because, and this industry this has been this way for, I don't know, 15 years maybe, right?
Yeah.
Since we all started my career in this. And it's frustrating because we're the ones that have to jump through all their hoops and prove that that's a real nonprofit and here's their paperwork and
and they get denied. I had a legitimate one get denied, and then I had to go file an appeal.
Yeah. Yeah. And meanwhile, we all see, these other ones sneaking through, right? And you figure with all that, we see so much with AI and stuff.
Yep.
Like if that spammer, and this is what they do, sends out 1,000 text messages on that, using that phone number to all these phones, and then he switches, there should be a way to be like, okay, that guy sent 1,000 emails out. Which person this morning between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the morning send 1,000 text messages? No one does. It's not humanly possible. So why don't you flip the humanly possible filter on, right?
Yeah.
It's impossible. So but then there's, ways that, they'll send a few out over here and a few out on this phone number. And so there's ways that they evade it. But you would think that spam, just with all the complex AI and all these filters that we have, wouldn't get through, but it does.
They still do. Yeah.
And, and so at the device level, so this is what we're talking about, right? So at the network level, it's hard to stop this stuff coming through, right?
Yep. Let's try
because
as I might.
I can go buy a burner phone and start sending text messages that have a bank notification to them, just sitting in my lawn chair out back. I could go get a list of old people and, tell them their grandson's in jail and I need $100.
Yep.
That's what happens.
Yep.
So they can't stop it at the network level. So Apple has said, hold my beer. I'm going to put it on the device level and we're going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what's basically happening. So how do you get, now you're this nonprofit, right? James has, we have Rally and these great tools and I'm sending messages and people aren't, people aren't necessarily getting them.
Yeah.
Or we won't talk about political messaging here, but how do you make sure that your message gets through this new software update on iPhones?
Yeah.
And really, it's this simple, and I'll let you expound on it. It's if you like a brand or you like the nonprofit, you have to agree to receive messaging from them, and there's always a process to do that. You opt in.
Opt in, permission.
So that's like level one. And then level two, at the device level. So opt-in gives you this network level. Okay, I agree to receive messaging from you, nonprofit. So that message goes back to them and now they can send you messages. That's at the network level. Whoops. Now we got software level. So one of the ways you do that is you save them as a contact, like a trusted contact on your phone.
Yep. And it's the same with email. Yeah. Sometimes you'll sign up for a newsletter on email and it'll say, hey, be sure to save my contact, because the email sender knows that if they're a contact on your computer, your email will land in the inbox, not in promotion folder or newsletter or whatever, right? Okay, so yeah, so it's a domino effect. I like to think of them as dominoes. So the
Yeah.
first domino we had to get right, which we are, and I'm grateful for, is registration with what's called a campaign registry, TCR, right? So if your vendor is sending text messages in the United States through what's called application to person, or A2P, they're automating text messages from a computer, meaning they can send tens of thousands of messages a second or a minute, right? We can send tens of thousands of messages a second. We do that by making sure that all of our traffic is approved and registered. And there's two parts to that, Jack. There's the brand, I am Rally Corps, you are nonprofit ABC. We upload your 501, we get your EIN, we upload your 99, we upload different, proof that you are who you say you are. We point to a website, we register with an email at that same website. We make a change on your website with a code so that they can see that we can, in fact, actually impact that domain. We do different things to verify that we, in fact, own that domain, own that website, that organization's legitimate, and then everything kind of checks out. They even call the phone number on the application to make sure that it gets picked up by the front office. We actually had a recent rejection where she put in the wrong phone, put in a personal number, and anyway, so the AIs will climb through that stuff and validate everything. So the first domino, Jack, is registration. That's a given. Now, Rally leaned into that early on and decided we were going to verify and register all of our customers, even when a lot of our contemporaries were not, or our competitors were not. And the reason is because we recognized that we could get higher throughput. A registered nonprofit not only gets cheaper send traffic because it's a nonprofit, and there's some carve-outs on many of the carriers for that, where they give some discounted send rates, but they also let a lot higher throughput. Now, you have to pay more for the registration, which is why I've had customers come over from like an Easy Texting or Simple Texting, great companies. They have text messaging, but you're limited to 2,000 messages a day, and they're not approved for nonprofits. So you're in violation of solicitation requirements because you can't do this thing called, Shaft. There's certain things, certain nonprofits that just cannot communicate because of Shaft and some of the regulations there. And therefore, all their traffic is filtered, which is why if you're a nonprofit and you're texting through a generic texting tool and you're like, it doesn't work, it's because no one's getting your message. The first domino failed is registration. Not only registration, but registration is a charitable organization with permission to text keywords and words that are typically forbidden.
Correct.
Gun violence. Sex trafficking.
Yeah,
things that we
the acronym SHAFT for those of you
sex, hate,
alcohol, firearms, and tobacco.
Yep.
And
so we have a leading
shaft with the C edit. Cannabis goes in with the tobacco.
So we have a leading nonprofit we work with that keeps guns off of campuses nationwide, and they were getting tremendous filtering on every tool they tried until we went through the process with us where we got special provision because we were able to submit an application and then rebuttal and go through the process to get actually an executive member of the team to look at it to say, yeah, this is actually approved. Right. And it came down, Jack, to me calling the T-Mobile team and saying, hey, you guys really want to not end violence? You want me to tell everybody that you do not want to end violence on campuses? Because that's what's happening here, right? Yeah. These are permitted.
It's always T-Mobile, by the way. Sorry, everybody, but it's always T-Mobile.
It is T-Mobile. So, but I have it in there, so thank God. They're good people. Sorry, Becky.
That's the network level. So that's domino. I guess you were talking about domino.
The domino. Right? So the first thing is network. Yeah. So we handle that through registration and verification. And we actually lean into that as a company because that gave us a leg up in the market because we were one of the few that were willing to go through that. There's an expense. I mean, I was spending, it's absurd, Jack, but I was spending $100 in time and energy, $44 in hard cash to approve phone numbers for free trial accounts. That's a terrible business model. Terrible business model. Customers would sign up for a free account and then cancel. And I was $44 hard cost into it because in good faith, I was registering all traffic, including free trial traffic, which by the way, we've stopped doing that. That's why we don't do free trials anymore. I'm like, if you want spammy services, I'll give you spammy free accounts, but you're going to get the deliverability rate of everybody else who does that. And we're not going to do that.
Revenue doesn't work for you?
Yeah, the negative revenue didn't work for that. It was a terrible idea. Don't ever do that. So number one, registration is the first domino. Second is to document your permission. So the next thing we did is we rolled out simple scripts, simple copy and paste templates that you can put in your privacy policy and your terms of service. The carriers want to see certain things, and we give you all that content. So we call it the toolkit, the compliance toolkit. That's the second domino. That you can get verified on the registration, but if at any point you get audited or there's a complaint, they look through your trace route through your trail, and if they can't prove certain things, you're out. You're violation.
Right.
And Jack, you know this. It's up to $1,500
per violation.
Per text message.
Yeah.
Per contact.
Yeah.
And if you send two text messages to two contacts, that's 4. What's 4 times 1,500, Jack? That's crazy. Yeah. And what these attorneys will do is they'll come after companies and they'll sue them class action. They try to unlock all of the sends. And then if they win against a nonprofit, they go every text message you've ever sent times a bazillion. This is why Jiffy Lube pays out how much? Do you remember?
I don't remember. It was millions, though, right?
40 million. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So enough of that. So because we go through the registration, because we go through the process of the toolkit, the onboarding, and the instruction, we're compliant.
Yeah.
And knock on wood, quite grateful for that.
Yeah. And repeatable compliance for a text company is important. So every text company that you use should have a toolkit that says, hey, your privacy policy on your website, put this in section 2G, and they should provide you that. If they don't do it, find a different text company. Go to Rally.
Yeah, we'll give you the copy and paste, and we'll even review it. I've got a compliance officer that looks at it. Okay, so the next domino, we'll just move on here. The next domino beyond network and then the compliance onboarding, we're basically documenting that you have a permission-based system, right, and showing how that's true. Then the next domino is simple things like CNAME, which is just caller ID name. Now, caller ID name on a cell phone really only works on voice over IP or landlines. But it is possible on landlines and voice over IP to show a caller ID that says Acme Foundation because you're registered with CNAME. That's only like a few bucks. It's not that expensive to do. And then as you're calling from the phone number, it actually shows a caller ID. Now, it turns out, Jack, that CNAME, caller ID name, doesn't always work on every particular, like you'll get to T-Mobile and it doesn't show, unfortunately, right? So caller ID doesn't always show because mobile carriers have opted to let the contact record in this phone dictate what gets shown on the caller ID.
Gotcha.
So we can register the name, and we do as a courtesy, because then it doesn't show spam likely or risk. If you've seen those calls where it says spam likely,
spam risk. Yep.
Yeah, because it hasn't been vetted, it hasn't been verified, it hasn't been identified. So there's an extra step to get rid of that. And then that you can literally get a verified sender. So often it'll show a checkbox. It's verified. It's a verified number, but you don't know who it is.
Right.
It doesn't say Acme Foundation on it, unless you're on a landline, then it will. But not all mobile numbers honor that CNAME. So we went a step further, Jack, and we created a quick tool that allows our customers to create a contact card, and then a welcome series that they can onboard and send a welcome text message to their constituents or their donors to say, "Hey, this is a new phone number. This is Becky at Acme. Some recognition." And add us to your phone. But here's the kicker, Jack. If I send you a bit.ly with a V card, anybody can text a V card and anybody can tell you who I am and they can fake it. And just a matter of time before they start doing that. Scammers will start sending contact cards claiming to be Hershey chocolate, and they're not Hershey chocolate.
Or your boss.
Or your boss.
See those all the time.
All the time.
Hey, James, I want to talk to you real quick. By the way, let's make sure we comply with the new iOS. Save my V card. Yeah. And it'll be somewhere.
And they will. And then from that point on, phone calls and text messages will say your boss or the charity, right? And Jack, you remember the call we had about a year ago from that foundation that had lost hundreds of thousands of dollars because somebody had pulled their donor list and was texting as the nonprofit and successfully raising money?
And they had a website that looked just like the foundation's website. They had a website, so they linked to them and gave them their credit cards.
It's been a while since I had that conversation, but I want to say it was over 100,000 that they were able to scam out of their donor base. So guess what that does? Not only does it create ill will with your donors, right, that your list was commandeered, but it creates this real issue with now your donors just gave 100 grand, and guess what they're not going to give to you?
Yeah, ever again.
That money, ever again, but not that 100 grand for sure. Maybe never again. So that was a real issue. So here's what I told them. I'm like, look, if you're not texting as you, someone else might. Now, I can send you a contact card and tell you anything I want. We've made it easy to send a contact card, so thankfully. But our team has also registered a domain name that is your domain name. So it's not bit.ly, it's not short link, so it's actually your.com or your.org, and it's your link. And if they go to that link, it redirects to your website, and we verify that it's your domain. So it's a trusted domain with HTTPS. It's a secure domain. Not just a raw domain. It's that little padlock that shows up on the screen, right?
Yeah. So, and for people who don't know to be clear, when you get a text message and there's a link in it, that's what we're calling a domain link. Mm-hmm. And we allow our clients to actually use a customized link so it can be more trusted. Yeah. Because when you see like a bit.ly link or a Google link or whatever, those can be faked.
They could be faked. Right. You could be rickrolled.
So now rickrolled. Now it comes from you because you've saved, you have a link and a contact saved in your iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes from that. A text comes from a person you're familiar with, and the link, when you look at it, it says Shriners or whatever the Shriners.org or whatever the customized link is. So now it's not a bit.ly or something strange.
Yeah, so the link is registered and verified. We're doing what we call Rally Verified. So there's an extra checkbox that we're putting on it that verified, because we're redirecting our own security. We run them through our certificate program and verification program. So when we redirect to our server, we Rally Verify it. So it's a verified contact in your phone. It's a link that you'll recognize, right? It's Rally Verified with a green checkbox with a whole statement around that. And we actually have insurance that we've just secured that will pay out on some of that. So there's some guarantees there. And then we have, so that's a redirect through our secured process for verification, because we go the extra mile and actually verify. The carriers can't even do it to the level we can do, because I can look in the white of your eyes and I know who you are, right?
Sure. Yeah,
so we have a whole DL, driver's license verification process that we've rolled out for that verification step. So we have like 4 layers of verification before we even get the campaign registry, right? And then the campaign registry has their own requirements, huge volume. So we're doing all this work, and here's why, Jack. Messages have to be delivered to be clicked. You got to trust the click. You got to trust who it is, right? That and then it's got to be the relevant message, right? So relevant message, relevant link, click, delivered, all the dominoes stack. And they don't, So anyway, I did a whole training on this. If people have questions, they can stop by. But what's coming in iOS is important, because if your text vendor is not thinking about this stuff, your messages start landing in spam or promotion, not making it through contact. And your click rates are going to go down, which effectively means your text messaging will do what your email's doing, and it'll be worthless. Not worthless. You'll get 2%.
Yeah. So I would submit to you. And I'm going to put this challenge out, and when we publish this podcast, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Is that messaging, because of text messaging and your provider for your nonprofit and your business and whatever else, right? Right. It's really, in the short term, it's really not about the software and how you create the message. I mean, Rally does it really well, right? One of your primary questions of your texting vendor is, how are we going to get messages out with iOS 26 software hitting these phones? Yeah. And if they don't have a good answer as far as we verify with the campaign registry, we do these other things internally. We're pushing out a secure contact card with a special link that doesn't look like a spammer link. Do all these things. If you don't feel confident, you need to feel confident that your text provider is got this stuff locked down, because otherwise you're spending 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cents a message to not deliver them.
Yeah.
I mean, your ROI and all the things that you do and the hard work that you do cultivating these great donor relationships and customer relationships are gone out the window when your message doesn't get sent. You can do everything right as a company, an enterprise, or a nonprofit, and then your text provider doesn't do the things that they need to do to get the message through.
Send your letter, Jack, put a stamp on it, get everything ready, and then take it to the shredder and just go ahead and shred it. I mean,
burn it.
Go burn it. You might as well.
Here's 30,000 letters. We're burning 25,000.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll leave you with this, Jack. I could care less. I've said this before, but at Rally Point, text message is not the end goal. If carrier pigeons converted better, I would do that. I'm only in this business to convert 20 million people to donate 1 billion. Yeah. We just pulled our numbers from the more recent campaigns. We're at like 30-something million, 38 million. So we're excited about making progress towards that goal, but it's not because we're enamored with SMS. We're looking at RCS, we're looking at V cards, we're looking at the new iOS, but your vendor needs to stay on top of this thing. If they're passionate about getting clicks, i.e. rallying people around your cause, then they should be talking about it, and we are. So, all right, well, I'll leave you with this. We'll end here, Jack. Thanks for the time. If anybody wants to stop by rallycorp.com and sign up for coaching, join one of our workshops, they're welcome to do that, and it's always a pleasure. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, James.
All right, bud. Bye.